I'm LaRie.
And I'm Nick B.
Listen, we're just two single girls from the City of Roses discussing all things love, lust, and perception.
And roses are a symbol of all things beautiful about love.
But as you know, love can get a little dirty. So we're here to talk about it.
Dirty Roses podcast starts now.
Hey, I'm LaRie.
And I'm Nick B.
And welcome to Dirty Roses podcast. Guess what?
What?
Season 4! Okay. And we're doing this.
Yes.
Okay, as you can see, brand new set.
Again.
If we could turn the cameras around, we got new teams and new things going on for our season, which is our anniversary season.
It is our anniversary season. You guys, we've made it through a year of the First of all, thank you, listeners, for listening with us for the past year of shenanigans and the crazy stuff that comes out of our mouths.
Yeah, y'all have really been riding for us, and we appreciate it.
We do.
We love the feedback that y'all have been giving us.
Yep.
And the way that y'all listen to our show while texting us that you're listening to our show.
And then tell us what we already know is funny, and that is funny. And we're like, yeah, we know.
We love that y'all think we're funny.
Because we think we're funny.
Because if nothing else, we're going to laugh at our own shit.
All day.
All goddamn day.
On repeat.
I love it. Yes. So we are going to do our
recap. Let's do it.
So this is our recap episode. We do it every season at the very first episode. Just to kind of catch up on what we did last season, what's coming up for this season, and what's been new with each of us.
Yes.
So where do we start?
Okay, well, let's start with what's new. Okay, so since last season, what's new with you, Miss LaRie?
More trips.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Where, anywhere fun, or are they all like kind of...
Still going to your area.
Okay, still coming to see me.
Yeah, that part and other people. Yeah, so doing that. Okay, now, I don't know if y'all remember this, but last season during the religion episode.
Yes.
When our guest mentioned that she met her husband on a dating app for people of Islam.
Yes. And I was trying to get on it for a second.
You were trying to get on it.
And then I understood I couldn't.
They took it down.
It's not for me.
But also, I think I made it very clear that I was never going to be on a dating app.
You did say that.
And
then what had happened?
What had happened was this girl over here told me that I needed to date people in my area because I have been very adamant about dating outside my area. And I don't know where to meet people who I don't already know. So I got on a dating app. So I joined.
But whose zip code did you use, though?
Bitch.
but whose zip code did you use? Because I feel like there was a whole conversation. You was like, girl, he ain't far from you. I am on the way.
So
he was some New Yorker, right?
There was a New Yorker. There was a New Jersey or what was that? New Jersey or?
I don't think that's it at all.
That is not it. That's probably why he's not.
A New Jerseyan.
The New Jerseyan.
I don't think that's it either.
A guy from New Jersey.
There we go.
There was a few from Virginia. One from DC.
Okay.
And there's others.
So really, you got on the dating app so you could meet people in your area, and then you didn't.
Didn't meet people from my area. I have met a few people from the Washington State, which is right up the street
that's
from
good.
us. So that's closer.
We'll consider that in the area.
It's closer. Have not. Okay, I chatted with one guy from Portland.
Okay. One.
One.
Is it one and done?
It hasn't been consistent.
Okay.
So, it is what it is. And we have a lot of mutual friends. So, I kind of shied away from that instantly.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like that you know everybody.
Okay.
Everybody.
Because you know everybody.
Because I know everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little uncomfortable. But yeah, so your girl's been on a dating app and I'm about to get off.
I can't wait.
So what has been new with you, though?
Kind of almost the same as you.
Did you get back on a dating app?
I did.
Oh, God.
I don't know how I feel.
Oh, God.
So the thing with dating apps is that it's like you want to be hopeful that you're going to find what you're looking for. And then every single time you're kind of reminded that this just ain't it. I don't know what it is. Like, I've met some guys that definitely have their own freaks and kinks. And I feel like that's
Lots of freaks and kinks.
And I feel like
feet kinks.
and I feel like
welcome to my world. I get lots of feet guys.
Do you like that?
It doesn't bother me because I like my feet.
Okay, no, but like, if a guy leads with, let me see them feet, what them feet do. If a guy leads with what them feet do, how you feeling?
I mean, considering I have a ton of feet pictures.
So you just send your feet for fun?
I don't send. Oh, I have sent feet pictures. Not. Oh, it sounds so bad.
Go ahead. Tell them what you
Not
think.
like they're squishing around in slime putty and stuff, but I posted my feet. But like the little wine glass, and you got your foot in the background, and you're, leaned up.
See, and I always thought that those were more like about your tattoos. So that's why I was like, oh, Leigh has great kneecaps.
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit different. I'm tapping into all my freaks and kinks of all the requests that I get.
So yeah, no, I've met some guys online. I have not had any dates with the guys online. But I don't even know how I feel about it right now. I waver back and forth between, do I want to go on a date or don't I? Because what I don't like is my peace being interrupted. And I recognize that might be my own issue, because in order for someone to enter your life, that's an interruption, that's a disruption, it's an addition.
Yeah.
And so I struggle going back and forth with, who do I want to add and why? It's like, if you're not going to add to my joy, if you're not going to add to my, happiness, success, or whatever the case may be, I just don't know if I have room for it.
And you usually don't find out that your peace has been interrupted until it's too late.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a gamble. Yeah, and what I've learned about me is that I am not a risk taker. So I struggle. But that's where I'm at with that.
But you gamble a lot. You don't gamble a lot at the casino, but when you go, you do.
With somebody else's money.
That's
okay.
True. You do. I learned from you about that one too. But okay, so some new things. Both of us on dating apps.
We are on the apps.
Different.
Okay. We are out there.
And y'all find us on those dating apps. I'm just kidding. Please don't, because I might get off really soon. But last season was an interesting. It was fun. We were venturing out and trying new things. And we're going to recap.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go in any particular order. I'm just going to go.
Let's do it.
One of the things that stood out, we just talked about freaks and kinks. So we had an episode with Stephen Smith,
the sexologist guy.
The sexologist, yes.
Yep, the sexologist.
With his deep voice
and his green eyes.
Green
gray. He called them them ocean eyes.
There we go. But we had a sexologist on.
Yes.
He gave us a lot of input on BDSM, his version of it, which he called Rated Red.
Yep.
Talked a lot about orgasms.
I didn't realize there was a whole alphabet worth of orgasms to be had. I thought an orgasm was an orgasm, and then that was the end of it.
And there was lots of G spot,
right?
A spot,
a whole C spot. That's the alphabet.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know, and I'm mad that I'm in my 40s and I didn't know.
And you skipped all letters and went straight to G spot, and we still haven't found it yet, huh? Yeah.
Still searching.
Still searching. What do you say? It's up. And
he
over?
says it's up and then over to the left.
And there's like a little ridge.
And there's like a little ridge, but it's on the left hand side.
And according to him, it takes you 90 seconds.
At least 90 seconds
to finish. Once found.
And I'm just saying, I hope men who were listening to that episode, if you took down notes, I will know, because if you don't get it, then I'm like, see, you're not invested in this show.
Your first date is going to be like, do you listen to my podcast?
Right.
So did you learn?
There's a test.
An alphabet?
There is a test. There's a quiz, and I'll know if you do or don't get it right.
If you're going 35 miles an hour down the slope and to the left,
right?
Where do you go? The ridge or the hole?
Stupid.
But that was a fun episode. It was interesting. I learned a lot. Apparently, Nick said I got hot and bothered during that
She
episode.
did. If you have a chance to go back and watch it, you will see that this one over here, she had some squirming going on. She absolutely was blushing. She got all cheesy and like...
Shut the fuck up.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. How about, I was just curious. That was
it's okay you had a little crushy poo.
What up, Steven? Hey. Holla. So we did an episode with one of your good friends.
Yes.
Red flags while dating.
Yeah. So we got really good feedback on that one. We got mixed reviews as well as good feedback. Folks didn't realize that they were even like participating in red flag behavior until it was kind of pointed out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I do that all day. I didn't even realize, but you're right. Like, that's a whole issue.
Right. Not only that we exhibit our own red flags, but that we didn't realize we were playing with the red flags that were there.
Right.
Like, and she did a good job of explaining red flags, orange flags, yellow flags, all that. Which I didn't realize there were so many flags.
Again,
I thought it was like red flags, green flags. That's it. Like, I don't know. But it made sense because there are things that may be something that you want to watch out for, but not necessarily a hard stop in a relationship.
Right. It's more like proceed with caution.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a lot of proceed with cautions.
About me? Dang!
Not you personally, but you proceed with caution on a lot of things.
Oh, okay, yes. I was like, wait a minute. No, did you just call me like a whole, like...
Do you remember what your red flag was? Because we talked about what our own personal red flags were.
I'm trying to remember now because
I feel like it was like you were too nice, too trusting.
I am too. Like I give people the benefit of the doubt too much. but I am too nice. I have a hard time being confrontational. So things will bother me, and I'll talk about it maybe with you, but not with the person who needs to hear it.
Yeah, you're a good communicator, but maybe not with the person whose feelings it might hurt.
I'm worried about hurting their feelings.
Yeah. And I entertain a lot of bullshit.
You do, but it's so much fun to listen to.
It is. It's content. Y'all can hear about this stuff. But yeah, so it was interesting we got the feedback that we did get was that people really related to the fact that they either were out of relationships that they learned a lot of red flags about, but didn't think about it until after the fact. Yeah,
and then we also kind of dissected the fact that not everybody's red flag is the same for everybody. Right. So even when we were discussing red flags on the show, what's a red flag for you isn't necessarily a red flag for me.
Because your green flag was somebody with 8 kids.
First of all, don't do that. That was not a green flag. That was a proceed with caution. I proceeded and shit.
It was, yeah. But you know, to be fair, again, like you had a very good explanation. You don't judge people about like. You have certain things that you do in your past life, like it could be a mistake, it could be an error, it could be just poor judgment at an unexperienced, immature age. That maybe you grew up from and you learned from and you're doing better in life now, right?
So what she's saying is that I absolutely dated a dude with 8 kids and kept it rocking. I mean, and some people might be like, well, shit, that's a problem.
She regrets it now.
Well, I mean, I regret every relationship that's ended. So, I mean, there's that.
That is true. Okay. Yeah. Well, we had a really fun time with Tommy Bradley of Quintar's Underwear brand discussing love beyond the struggle. He was hilarious now. He was from Mississippi.
He was. So listen, when you go back and listen to this episode, you might actually need to watch this episode on YouTube because there were parts that he kind of broke out a lot of. And so it's hard to hear him on some areas. But if you watch it, you can at least read his lips to catch anything you may have missed. Because it was funny.
Plus, not to mention, the more he talked, the more country his accent got.
He became more Mississippi.
Yeah, Mississippi. Yep. Throughout the whole show.
The whole show.
But he was really dope. He talked about his story about going to prison, you know, coming out of prison, getting his life together, finding God, doing all those things, and then finding the love of his life and getting married and starting his own brand. So he's doing great things. Really great episode. Really good.
And his brand is really expanding.
It is.
And did he say he was getting some women's draws? Because remember, I was trying to break out of my cottons.
Yeah, you're unmatching.
My unmatching draws.
Brown, black, top, bottoms. Yeah. So he was, I think he was getting ready to start into women's clothing. He had some before. Yeah. And then kind of started focusing on men's clothing or men's underwear. But you can catch him out at all these pop-ups around Portland.
You sure can. And hit him up because Valentine's Day is coming up. So, you know, what, tomorrow? Yeah. So basically go get if you need some last minute gift ideas, get your man some draws. Go find Tommy.
Find him on IG. Okay. Quintar's Underwear.
Yes.
And we'll tag him again.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Again, you need it by tomorroher though.
You got a couple days. He keeps him in the trunk of his car, so you're good.
He gonna roll up on you.
We had another great episode after that with our friend from middle school,
Maury
and her husband Steven. It was maintaining a successful marriage, which neither one of us know anything about.
But not only that, what we really...
She's like,
yeah.
I mean, I did.
I feel like you did maintain a successful... I mean
17 years.
Yeah, that's not like it was just a year and you were done or something. Like, we can call that a success. It's just sometimes people change and maybe it's successful that it ended. Maybe that was a success story. Okay, so there's that. But it's always nice to see a healthy relationship. I think we dive a lot into toxic relationships because it's funny. And it's easy to talk about the things that went wrong and make jokes about it and everything like that. But what everyone is ultimately looking for is that recipe for success.
Right.
And so we found out that the recipe is actually in a slice of German chocolate cake.
Made by G-Ma.
By G-Ma.
Yeah, that was not given to the girlfriend at the time.
No.
It was given to the future wife.
Right.
So they have a very interesting beginning to their story. Yeah. Also, a note to listen to your elders because they know better than you do. They do. You don't want to listen sometimes, but you know when they give you German chocolate cake, you eat that. You marry her. You get it.
Go eat this cake.
So we invited my cousin on the show, and she talked about her experience with her childhood trauma. She dove into a really heavy subject that we discussed. We do say that there is a viewer warning, so if you do watch that episode, there is discussion of some type of child abuse, and we don't want to go into detail right here, but you can watch that episode. But her outlook on how she came through that was so amazing. Yeah. Her perspective of life now is great. She was very much like... I'm glad I went through certain things because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be who I am today. And that's very difficult for a lot of people to think about because a lot of us are like, why me? Why did this happen to me? And she just has a totally different outlook. Yeah. She's married now, really great life, starting businesses and all kinds of things. So that was...
Yeah, she's a great example for someone who may be going through the struggle right now and is looking for what it's going to look like on the other side. She's a good example of the other side.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I did like that episode. It was, that one was called Surviving Childhood Trauma, right? Yes. Yep. The next, another episode that we did, Religion and Relationships.
Yes.
Which felt like we learned more about the religion than the impact of the relationship. Yeah. But it was very, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. Especially about the courting process. But that guest, Imani Muhammad, shout out to Imani.
Hey, Imani.
But she's of the Islamic faith. And she described the courting process for the Nation of Islam in the U.S. at least. Yeah. She said it was different in different countries. But in the U.S., it was very, like, military structured. And it was interesting. Like, you know, you turn paperwork in to court somebody. And then you intentionally
You have a sponsor?
Somebody. No, it's not a sponsor.
Yeah, the person that said... She said it's like a captain, but then she called it a sponsor.
You called it a sponsor, Heifer, because you didn't understand what the hell she was talking about.
I know what a captain is.
It's basically like they have people who are in charge, not in charge, but just like a leadership person of your group of brothers and sisters, right? So the men's side has someone that they might go and check in with, and the women have a sister that they might go and check in with. And so what she was saying is the captain is the people that you would turn in this form in to say you're interested in somebody so that they can make notice to everybody else, hey, these two people are trying to date and they're trying to see if they're going to get married or whatever. So you guys do not disturb their relationship in this moment. And so that was kind of what that was. I don't think it was a sponsor. It sounds so alcoholic.
It's like a sponsorship.
No. This is my AA. She didn't get a coin after a year of dating.
She got a ring. She got a ring. It's round like a coin.
Oh my goodness.
Moving on.
Transition. We had a lot of outbursts during our season.
We did.
It was interesting. You guys should watch it.
Yeah. I usually have random spurts of
We got to interview one of our producers at that time. Yeah. Naeem. Yes. Who talked about his start in podcasting. Also about how they run their business over there. And we got to drill him.
And then make up some stuff.
And make up stories about his dating and sex life, which was very fun. Because apparently he likes having sex in all the parks in Portland.
According to us.
According to us.
Heavy on the according to us. So if you go back and have a chance to listen or watch this episode, you'll see that he becomes a little more internal and vague with his answers and decided that he didn't want to be as transparent. So we created transparency for him. Yes. So if you go and listen to it, you will hear that 90% of his story is made up by us.
Aside from the one where his ex-girlfriend got deported.
His ex-girlfriend did get deported.
She did. We don't know why.
Because he was trying to be on 90 Day Fiancé. Shout out Naeem.
We were over here just dogging
still making up stories.
She was a kingpin.
She was.
And you were in the park.
Right. She had hoes. In different area codes.
I love it. We did this was one of my favorite episodes of the season. I know it had various feedback, but the redefining manhood. I like this episode because we, in a whole relationship conversation about all things love, lust, and perception, right? We get lots of questions about why men think the way they think, or an opinion on a man. Like they ask us about a man's opinion, and we're women. We can't answer those questions, and so it's dope that we were able to have on Drew Dukeshire and also Blaze Harris, who is a Black mental health specialist out of North Carolina.
Yep, the dope Black therapist.
Yeah, dope Black therapist. So Drew shared his struggles and story about him being in prison, coming out of prison, reintegrating, being a father, all those things. They both kind of shared what made them feel like they were men. And they carried that conversation the whole show.
we actually even said it towards the beginning of it that we were going to try and keep as quiet as we could while still kind of helping guide and lead questions. Yeah, absolutely. We're like, we want this to be your area, your space to talk. And they did a lot of talking back and forth to each other. They related to each other. They asked each other questions. So where we narrated, they really it was their spotlight.
Yeah, and we've talked about revisiting this conversation again because they both have really amazing stories. And we almost felt like we didn't do them justice by putting them both on the show together.
They could have easily held their own episode by themselves.
So I feel like a lot of our shows, an hour just doesn't feel like enough time sometimes. Like it feels like we get really
especially not when your tummy is grumbling like right now and I want to put the microphone on my tummy. I don't
know which episode that was, but there's an episode last season where Nick B's stomach was growling.
It was just going,
and she was so distracted that she took the microphone and literally put it to her stomach in the middle of the episode because she's special. Don't ever question why she's single, because you get it firsthand.
Because you know why.
Because we know why. You and your cats.
Smokey!
Again, no Smokey this season.
No Smokey or Rosie.
Right, no Smokey or Rosie.
But they're doing good in case anybody's curious how my cats are. They're home for the holidays. I won't be with them this Valentine's year. I miss them. But, they're holding down the fort while I'm here handling business, and they all say hi. Shout out to their fans. SmokeyRosie.com. Moving on.
You're making them a website?
I might now have to.
You need to. They're whole celebrities at this point. They really are. The other episode that we did, we invited my high school friend and her husband, Kiara Bostic and Isaiah Bostic.
Yes.
And we were talking about opposite sex best friends.
Yeah.
And this one was a little bit near and dear to my heart. I think I went on a tangent.
A little bit. But I felt like it was a tangent that needed to be had.
It was. I think it was holding it in, it was like a therapy session for me. Yeah, I had an experience with my ex and his now person. And
his now current,
who was also his childhood best friend, whatever. So it was a little touchy for me, but we got to hear other people's perspectives about what's allowable.
Yeah.
How you navigate having best friends, because they both have opposite sex best friends.
Right.
And so that was interesting. But they also did share about times that it wasn't okay.
And how they moved through not being okay with someone having a best friend of the opposite sex.
Right. And you had some really good questions about the difference between...
Well, I remember the biggest question that I had and sometimes still have is what makes someone your best friend and not the one if it's the opposite sex. If your friend is amazing is amazing talent, right? Amazing, amazing, talented, fun. Your confidant, that person that you enjoy spending your time with. Why aren't they the one? Does it simply come down to you're not attracted to them? That was still the question. Why isn't this the one if this person is all that?
Right, because at weddings and all the anniversary posts,
which I found out was a lie.
Right, because they'd be like, I married my best friend.
And everyone who I asked about that said they lying, cap.
Because they're. And I understood the concept of you have a best friend because that's who you go to talk to about everything. Usually in your mind, you kind of play that as not opposite sex. It's like the guy, if it's a guy, then you have a guy best friend because you guys can relate about the same things. You can talk about man stuff or whatever. And for women, it's women,
I don't think my guy best friends know I'm a girl anymore. I think they knew I was a girl when I met them.
Dude.
But today, I am seriously bruh. That's it. Bruh.
Where's the pants in y'all's friendship? She had to think about that a little too hard.
It depends. It goes back and forth.
Don't worry about what's in our cups.
Right. It is not alcohol.
It's straight vodka in her cup.
Right.
I don't know.
In a tinted glass.
No. Now, side note: if you are a liquor brand and you'd like to sponsor us,
we want some malt liquor.
We ain't doing no malt liquor.
Some Colt 45.
No, we're not doing that.
Mad Dogs.
We should have had Mad Dog on one of the episodes. No, because we don't want to have our girls getting drunk. But
no.
Mad Dog is such a college thing.
With
our teenage girls. No. I drank a lot of Mad Dog in college.
I never drank that. You know what?
Never did?
No, I've only had my first cheap liquor was Boone's strawberry, and I remember drinking it with a straw. That shit was delicious.
My first time drinking Boone's Farm.
And I got it from 7-Eleven.
Your guy best friend from high school.
Really?
He was. We were at his house getting drunk. Freshman year.
Nice.
Of high school. Yeah. That was great. But no, that was last season. Of course, we had our recap episode that we did last season. But it was a fun time. We tried out a new set. So we got some ideas on how we revamped some things for this season. It was a wild whirlwind of a season. We did a lot of recording really quickly, but it was fun, long hours. What was your favorite moment of last season?
Honestly, last season I really enjoyed the random outbursts. Like seriously, because we recorded everything so quickly that there was a lot of stuff that I couldn't even remember. But what I did remember was loud noises that I couldn't help but respond to on camera.
Yeah.
Transitions on camera.
Yeah.
My tummy rumbling and me thinking everybody can hear it, so I went ahead and just put the mic to it. Yeah, just I think the outbursts for me are always funny because I crack myself up.
Yeah, she does.
What were your favorites?
I think my favorite was actually bringing out the shirts, which you.
Yeah, so I do have on one of the shirts. What am I wearing?
Dick and Therapy.
Dick and Therapy. This is from season 2.
Yeah.
And this had to do with the episode that we did with Miss Lachey, where we were talking. I think it was actually called "I Can Do Bad All by Myself,"
Yes.
and she was talking about the best way to heal when you're coming out of a significant long-term relationship, and she's like, basically all you really need is dick and therapy. We're like, put it on a shirt. So we did.
So you will see us wearing some shirts. We hopefully will be releasing some shirts for the public to buy sometime soon. So that is one of our goals. We're getting there. It's a slow process. We're learning as we go, but honestly, that was my favorite part. Was like being able to
explain the shirts
because they were fun and I loved it. And thinking of new ideas for new shirts. Honestly,
I think those come naturally to us.
Lots of outbursts. But another thing that we did add was again the sponsorship. So if you were looking to sponsor a show, sponsor an episode, get your product placement on, we do highlights, shout outs, all those things. We have some amazing products here from Materia Medela. She was on our season 2. She's an herbalist and she creates and curates all these herbal packages based on what your medical needs are. So she works with you. She works based on what your primary care physician tells you what your conditions are, your things are, and she creates these kits for you and things. And so there's a journal that you do. You document everything. She gets you a cute little cup. She does yoni steams, all kinds of stuff. So if you want to get in on that, she can do virtual consultations. She'll ship to you. She'll do all those things. She's getting ready to dip and dive into some shroomery. So that ayahuasca, like if you ever see those movies where they go to those remote places in the jungle and they sip that drink and then they have a whole
girl, that sounds like some whole cult shit. I don't want you sipping nobody's Kool-Aid.
Does, but it's really therapeutic from what I understand. It's like
until you die.
You don't die. Oh my God! No, we're not saying do
the
drugs.
point is that if you'd also like to have your products placed with us, we would be happy to highlight your brand, your product, much like we're doing right now until it took a tangent to death.
That you took it so
because you over here taking sips of shroom juice in the jungle, like in the jungle. LaRie, you just gonna go hop a plane to a jungle, drink some juice?
I might actually do that.
Ooh, jungle juice.
I try everything once.
Okay.
Almost everything.
Okay. Even pegging?
I would try.
You would?
I would peg somebody.
No, would you have it done to you? Well,
that's not really
that's
pegging
really
because it's
taking it.
Just taking the ass. And I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I won't say. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
All right.
This season,
sips
season
water.
4. Sip that water, make you wet. This season, we've got some really great stuff.
Yo, I'm really excited about this season.
I am too.
We have some phenomenal guests and some great topics.
Yeah, so again, out of order, not anything particular, but we have an episode called Love and Music where we invite Mighty, who is a local Portland rapper who has been rapping since he was 11. I think he said. And so over 2 decades at this point, maybe, of him rapping. Super successful, has toured with some of your favorite artists. He is being featured on TV shows, movies, reality shows, in sports arenas, all those things.
Yeah.
We might even get a special, like,
a little couple bars.
You know, a few bars, you know what I'm saying? But he discusses, like, his music career, the music industry. He tells some really funny stories about some other situations with famous artists and talks about how it impacted his own love life.
Yeah. And how he navigates his love life through his music and celebrity. Ooh, say it again. Come on, sir. Celebrityism. Say it again. Try it again.
This is why you color.
Celebrityism. Did I get it right that time?
Sure.
But did I?
So the next episode we did was open relationships. Now we talked about poly relationships in the first season, right?
Yes.
We had our guests Jelani and Yemaya on there, and they talked about their experiences with being poly. And we learned a lot during that episode.
We did.
Lots of rules, lots of things, lots of guidelines and boundaries.
We learned even more in this episode.
Yes, so open relationships.
Which is totally different than polyamory.
Right, which it all seems like the same to someone who doesn't do it.
Exact to that part. So we understand where polyamory is. There's different variations of it.
Yes, and it means you love many, right?
Right.
So you're
heavy on the love, though.
Right. You're like in a relationship with multiple people.
Right. Which is different than an open relationship, which we found out in this episode, where open relationship is really just about the act of sex.
Yeah, basically.
There's no emotional connection to the person that you are sleeping with outside of your relationship.
Right. But they have similarities about having rules.
They do.
Having boundaries.
They do.
The open communication about what's going on.
Yeah.
But one is where a lot of people thought, like, the misconception about poly was that it was about sex. Where this is kind of what it is. Yeah. And so this kind of gave me even more clarification about poly. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, there's a difference. Yes. Because I thought poly was really just an open relationship, but there's a difference.
Yes. So you'll have to tune in for that episode just to kind of hear it all and get the perspective of our two guests that were on that episode.
Who was a couple. And to be fair, it's a one-sided open relationship.
One-sided open relationship.
Yes. So
my cousin be out there.
It is. It's her cousin. Yes. Who likes teeth.
He does.
So self-love.
Self-love.
With Coach Kathy. So if you ever follow me on social media, I will make mention of me having my life coach sessions. I share like little aha moments that I have. I love my life coach. She's very straightforward, very blunt, very in your face kind of sometimes. And sometimes I need that because I like softness sometimes when people are telling me something's wrong with me. Yeah. And she never tells me anything's wrong with me because she'll get on me for that too. But I do like her approach. It works for me. It makes me feel better. It gives me like actionable things that I can work on. And so Nick B got a little dose of that on the show because we were asking questions and it was like, oh shit.
Well, I didn't know what to expect. I've actually never worked with a life coach, so it was very interesting to kind of hear her delivery and how she analyzes language that people use. So I was like, oh, this is different. Okay.
Definitely. And we, again, reiterating from what we learned during the sexologist show, the difference between like a sex coach and a sex therapist is the same as the difference between a life coach and a therapist. It's like a life coach doesn't have to have the schooling behind what they do. They have to have the experience or some certifications, but there's no degree behind it. But they're able to give more recommendations from a lived perspective rather than a clinical perspective. I guess is the difference. Exactly. And they can practice anywhere. They don't have to be in a specific state. They don't have to get certified in a certain state. They can be anywhere. So if you're interested in getting a life coach and you want to talk to her, let us know.
Let us know. Let us know.
The HBCU experience.
That was a fun episode. What I liked about this one also is that a lot of our episodes tend to be hypersexualized because we're focusing on love and lust. Yeah. This one was really more or less getting the take of young college students at HBCUs. Yeah. And so
both Nick B and I are HBCU alums. Yep. And we've worked with youth in various ways before. So both the young ladies were connected to us in different ways that we've mentored or family or whatever. Yeah. And they were both at different classifications in their schooling. So it was great to hear like a brand new student perspective, a little more seasoned student perspective, our perspective. Yes.
Especially going to school out of state. And so not only are you dealing with becoming a student at a higher level than what you're used to, coming out of high school, but you're now also dealing with different personalities and different coastal, what's the word I'm looking for? Just just behavior, what's normal, different styles, cultural norms. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
So we've learned it because we both went to school out of state. We both had that culture shock, that whole experience of being in different areas. Pacific Northwest, not a huge population of black people. Obviously, we have our village of black folks, so we don't mind it. But it's definitely different going down south, going East Coast. So, we know it from when we went to school. Yeah. But they're getting it from a whole different time frame. Social medias, like
we didn't have social media like they do. I mean, we had stuff, But it was very basic.
We had to go to a computer lab.
We did.
Because we still had dial-up.
We did.
My school had dial-up.
I remember having the computers, the Apple computers with the big backs that had the colors.
The colors.
Yeah. I thought they were so pretty.
They were pretty. I did like those.
Yeah.
Memories. So then we did an episode. Oh, the list. So everybody remembers the list that came out a while ago about where not to go on a first date.
Right, and it was all generated from the viral video that took place about the young lady who was taken on a date, and upon getting to the restaurant, guy comes out to let her out the car, but she locks the car door. It's like, I know this ain't where we going, this ain't where we're eating, and it was the Cheesecake Factory. Right. So the whole conversation was, well, what's wrong with Cheesecake Factory? Right. So then there was a list of places you should not go on a first date.
And a lot of them we disagreed on. Like
I think 90% of them, yeah. Like
right.
I didn't we all kind of left like, well, where do you go on a first date if it's none of these places?
Right, exactly. Our guest that show was Eric, DJ Price Miyagi.
Yeah.
Who was a local event promoter. He's a DJ. He does all
he
kinds
has his
of
own
things out
podcast.
Here. Yes. Like Come and Talk to Me, or Can We Talk podcast.
Yep.
So he came on, shared his perspective from a male's perspective about the list.
Yep.
We also discussed the list of what type of woman not to date. So there was a list that came out that was reactionary.
And he called cap on almost
the entire list. Of course, he wants a whole hood ratchet mattress actress, bottle girl.
With some class.
Freaking the sheets.
Yep.
And sometimes in the club,
all that.
Lady in the streets.
All that.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
He had an interesting perspective, and it was a fun conversation. It was good.
High energy.
It was high energy. I did like that. But we gave a little bit of what our actual lists were, of what we would like or what we're looking for. All three of us did. So that was interesting. And I like that episode, and I wonder if there are going to be any more lists coming out anytime soon.
They're entertaining, if nothing else.
They are. They're good discussion pieces.
Yes.
Because, at least it drives a conversation about why some of these things. Because the coffee shop was a good discussion point.
Right. And he said he would never. And we were like, well, why not?
Right. But then he would take everybody to his house on the first date.
Okay.
We call Cat.
He's a little... hella call Cat.
Area codes.
Yay! That was a fun one.
Our childhood friend, India Davis, who is a global marketing guru, who travels the world to do these marketing events, red carpet events, big corporation marketing. Like she's
that girl.
She's that person. Music industry, all those things, right?
Yes.
But because of the way that she travels and the way that she's had to live her career, she has moved around a bit. She's traveled a lot. And so she dates outside of her area. She dates in her area. She's dated in different cities that she's lived in. So it was a good conversation, especially for me, because I, again, am very vocal, which we talked about earlier, about not dating in the same city.
Yeah.
And me liking and preferring to date out of my state. So Nick B was mildly, possibly persuaded.
Not the...
just a little bit. Just a little bit. She used to date outside of her state because she thought it was cool, and now she's like.
But considering that what my state used to be was here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's different. Again,
it is.
Like we said, the population is very small.
Yeah.
The available population is very small.
Yeah.
The quality available population is even smaller. So you dwindle down to a little bit of stuff. But but that was a great conversation. She was so open and transparent about a lot of things. And I would be curious to know what other people think about dating outside their areas and whatnot.
I mean, she made a lot of really good arguments for why it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's just how it works for her.
Yeah.
And that little that I'm willing to consider is, I was like, well, I mean, like, I could try. I don't think it's going to work, but let me not block my blessings.
Don't block it. That's another shirt.
Season 1.
Yes.
That is one of our shirts. So maybe I will consider giving a shot instead of just not being so completely shut off to it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. That date nap gonna come in handy.
I like it.
We had a very deep conversation with some women who actually hit us up, and they were doing an event that's happening in May. Happening in May. It is a DV survivors event. It's like a brunch where they're sponsoring 10 women. They're going to help them get all gussied up. They're going to treat them. They're going to get them all like feeling beautiful for the day, feeling loved on for the day. They're going to be going to a restaurant out here in Portland. They're looking for sponsors for those ladies, but they're also selling tickets for their event. But they hit us up and they wanted to promote their event on their show. And we were like, wouldn't that be a great topic to talk about? Because again, relationships aren't always great. They're not always good. They're not like, we talk about the dirty part of relationships being funny and the sexual things and all that. But there's also a very dark side to the relationships that can be
abusive,
traumatizing. Yeah. And so the two ladies that came on, Yolanda Merriweather and Kenyatta Trice, came on. They shared their graphic stories about what they went through.
Yeah. Because they're both survivors.
Yeah, exactly.
Of domestic violence. And so they definitely shared a little bit of their stories, and they also explained their passion behind their foundations to help women who are survivors or who are looking to get out of a relationship that they're in and need that support. Yeah. So it was really touching to have them on our show so that we could help them support their cause and just make more awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah. We sip a little bit too on that episode.
Yeah, there was some
There's
sipping.
Some good pineapples and some other things happening that was fun.
There was some.
While we got heavy and serious, we did have a little bit of fun too.
Yeah.
We don't have no pineapples in our drink today.
No, have no fruit.
It was hitting though.
It was hitting.
We're doing a hot topics episode this season about some controversial topics on social media.
You know what? Our listeners are so amazing. They will often inbox me or sometimes LaRie of different viral clips surrounding dating or the aesthetics of dating, and they're like, you guys should talk about this. So we've listened to you, we've heard you, we've kept track of a few of them, and we're going to dive into that this season also, just to kind of break down some of our thoughts behind some of these clips that go around the internet. And it's going to be a lot of...
I'm excited for that.
You guys are going to love it. It's nothing but jokes.
Pretty much, and some bullshit.
Okay.
I think my favorite part is going to be the reunion episode.
Yeah.
So this is where it all came from. Nick B and I met in middle school. This is where everything started. This is where all the bullshit, all the shenanigans, all the funny jokes.
That's why we know each other so well.
The inside, outside jokes, everything came from us being friends for over 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So we are inviting our friends, also from middle school, to come back on the show, or to come on the show. I say back because we're all coming back together. You're going to meet the white boy. The white boy.
If you remember, season 1, episode 1, I asked LaRie about her first kiss. And she made mention of old boy, and I believe old boy was like, was that me?
I'm the white boy.
And so he'll be here. I'll have questions for him. We've heard your side of the story. I'm ready to.
We have never talked about it.
We gonna talk about it. Y'all gonna hear about it.
Right, and it was so innocent. It was so innocent, y'all. It was. But we have some of our other really good friends, and it's great. The good thing about our class of 01, which is our high school graduation day. I hate aging ourselves, but we bombed. So whatever.
It's just crazy. It was an amazing year.
It was the best year ever. But I would say this though. I have yet to meet a class of, because we went to different high schools. So I have yet to meet a class of students anywhere in the world
well connected.
That is so close. And when I say so close, we went to different high schools and we're still friends.
And not only that, sometimes I forget that we weren't in the same high school at times because we were at the same events. We still had all kinds of mutual friends, which means we were often at the same parties. Yeah. We were at the same sporting events. It's like, granted, we were in different schools, but like you said, that closeness of the class over the city itself, we are pretty tight-knit.
We were super close. And it's funny because I have friends that have moved here since, we've grown up or whatever, like that aren't from here, that are from bigger cities, bigger states, and they're like, why does everybody refer to their high school as if it was like last year or like it's the biggest thing that ever happened in their life? And I'm like, high school was an amazing time.
It was a really good time.
It was a good time to be alive, honestly, because
it was pre-internet. Not pre-internet.
It was the start of internet.
It was the start of internet. It was back when everyone didn't have as much access on their phones, so there was much more in-person communication. And like today, unfortunately, the kids today, they don't actually interact with each other. They're on their phones interacting, which is totally different than the sleepovers, than the skate parties. Just sitting and talking to each other because everybody's not playing their live games, talking over their games. Like it was a different time. Absolutely.
Being outside, the street lights came on,
scraping your knees
from one quadrant to the other quadrant because start off in Northeast, end up in Southeast,
Right.
North, South, North. It was all over the place. And it was like,
and our parents were good with it.
no
Like,
contact
it was
all day long.
right. Take the bus home. Take the bus home.
It was like, whose house you going to? I'm going to Nick B's house.
Yeah.
Okay, see you later.
See
Then
you,
we'd be
bye.
at Nick B's house. We'd be at Sally Sue's house. We'd be at Billy's house. And then we come back and be like, how was Nick's house? It was wonderful. No questions asked. It was a good time. But I'm really excited to catch up with everybody, to see what they're doing now, see who's got what going on, who's dating who. We have some time left. So I want to know what your favorite, because this is our anniversary show. Like, we get to talk about all seasons.
All seasons.
What was your absolute most favorite moment of Dirty Roses podcast, period?
That's tough. You know, we've had a lot of moments over the year. I mean, honestly, if I have to bring it back to the favorite moment, I loved our launch party.
Yes.
And let me just tell you why, though. Like, I enjoyed the whole day of getting gussied up. We had our makeup done. We had our hair done.
Sia Miller, Faces by Sia Mia.
Yes. Yeah. We made sure that we kind of had these matching red dresses. Yes. That's when we first got our step and repeat. Yes. And we were like, okay, with the step and repeat, come through. And it was just nothing but love to see family and friends come out and support us. We had this intimate gathering with candles and bottles and music and
food. Shout out to LeBron Temps.
Okay.
They catered. It was dope.
And it was great to have people actually interact with our panelists at the time.
Oh yeah, the Alpo.
If
y'all don't remember, I think we've mentioned this a couple times because it was just so crazy and outrageous. But the girl, Charliza Harris, was also my hairstylist. Season one was on the entrepreneurship episode. She mentioned about how was it her husband at the time?
I think so.
I think it was her husband at the time. She found out he was cheating on her, and she fed him sloppy joes made with Alpo dog food.
Yeah, and if you guys could have heard the crowd, the whole audience was literally clutched their pearls at the same time, and it was just like, what? And that was a moment, and it was funny. But that was just a really fun night for us, I think, and rewarding in that sense.
Because by that time we had wrapped up recording the season, and so we were kind of celebrating because we record the seasons all at one time, and then we launch them on a later date, and then they play out. But it was like we wrapped up the season. We had all our guests. All of the guests from the show were honorary guests at the event that night, so they all came. What was your
thinking back over the whole year? I'm saying the whole year.
You know, honestly, it's the episode I hate the most, but it was also the one that we talk about behind scenes the absolute fucking most, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about my little baby brother?
I am.
Okay, so Mike Bain. Let's get into it.
Mikey?
Mike Bain.
He hates that.
He does hate Mikey.
Yeah, he does.
Little brother. So it's, first of all, it's great that we can get family up here and that they're willing to talk. My brother, he loves to talk, and so I always knew that he was a bit of a train wreck.
Yeah, I think we all know a little bit, but not.
But not the way we were able to see it, because we were able to kind of get an inside scoop of how his little wheels be turning. And I just remember a few pieces of the episode where I was sitting there with my jaw like, what?
At this time, you were virtual.
I was virtual still. Yes. And so LaRie and Mike Bain are in the studio together. And she's trying to keep him focused just on the questions alone. And he's ready to take tangents left and right. And he's giving these analogies that have absolutely nothing to do with the question.
So I gotta give the backstory. So before every episode, we check in with the guests to make sure that they're ready, they have all the questions, that they're whatever. So I called Mike Bain the night before. It was kind of late at night, but I was like, I know he's up, it's whatever. I called him, check in to make sure he's good, to make sure he has all the questions. I don't need no fucking questions. Y'all think I ain't got this? I was like, no, I'm just doing
Why he's so angry with it? So bad.
I'm just being professional. Oh, my bad. I'm just used to y'all thinking I ain't shit. Like, okay. So then from there, he's out partying, kicking it, having a good time all night long. And I'm like, bro, you got to be.
Are you gonna be up at 5 p.m. though? Right. Are you gonna be ready at 5 p.m.?
Oh my God, I think it was like. It might have been like earlier.
It was earlier. It was late. It was late for me.
It was late for you because you were out on the East Coast. But yeah, so it was like maybe like 11, 12 o'clock, whatever, our time. And I was like, are you going to be good? Because by this time, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. He has given me the rundown of his entire life story.
The whole rundown.
Yeah, the whole rundown. He, at that point, was at some bar playing pool. He was outside in the car, back in the bar. It was a whole thing.
Okay.
And
probably at that same bar right now with my pops.
Probably is.
He's at the Nighthawk.
Yeah, bars. Shout out Nighthawk. I had to go to bed. And I was like, yo, I got to get ready for the show tomorrow. So I hope you're ready.
I hope you're doing the same thing that I'm doing. Get ready.
He came in the studio. He was cool because he came in while we were still recording a previous episode. He came and he sat quietly. I was like, okay.
No, he sat quietly.
He's doing good. We're doing good, right? He walks in. He sits down. We're okay, cool. I was like, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. You thought I wasn't going to show up. No, I did. But okay, you're here. We're doing good. When I tell you that boy got so animated about his points he was making, if you feel me though,
if you hear me,
if you respectfully, there's so many quotes that we took from that episode.
So many takeaways.
But the part that just killed me was we have a list of questions that we use as kind of like a guide, right? The conversation is really flowing for the most of our guests. But we used them just in case. So
yeah.
Mike Bain got through every single question
in a matter of like 15 minutes.
And did not answer a single one.
No, not directly. And so we kept going back and forth like, okay, yes. But what do you mean?
And in that time, because we don't understand what he's saying.
Not at all.
He's thinking he is speaking the most eloquent PhD level, going like this all day long. You know what I'm saying? I got these cheeseburgers. Start smacking the table to make his point. And I had to reach over and I was like, bro, stop. And he's like, oh, my bad. And he did it again. He kept doing it. And at that time, we had mics that were on stands.
Yes.
And he banged the table so hard, the mic just kept hopping. And it fell off the table. The table was about 3 feet tall. We were up on a bar stool type table. As the mic goes down, it pulls all the cords out with it. Oh my God. He's still talking. Nick B's on the camera. She don't know what's going on.
And my audio's cut and I don't even know it.
She doesn't know her audio's out. She's trying to keep Mike engaged. I'm texting our producers like, fix it. It's broken. It's not working.
And just to give you guys a little bit of context, these microphones are not lightweight.
Oh, God.
I want you to envision a standalone mixer that you would like a KitchenAid, something that kind of has almost that like cement base bottom to it. These things are heavy, which means that the level of aggression to knock a whole mic off the table.
Yeah, not like he hit it. It was a pound.
It was a pounding. It was a. He created enough vibration to move concrete. Okay.
Off a 3-foot table.
Off a 3-foot table.
Yeah. So during that time, our producers came in the studio. They fixed it all up.
And you don't see this on film because we had to edit it out.
Yes, but in that time, he's still talking.
He never missed a beat.
Still making his random points. We get everything plugged back in. I tried to bring it back. Nick is like looking off the side of the camera. She's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And I'm like, so what are your takeaways? Because at this point, we're 22 minutes in and we have nowhere to go with this interview. And it was like after it was over, I was like, we're scrapping this whole show. I was
like, Leigh, we can't. I said, one, he will have an absolute fit. There's that. He's going to be in his feelings real bad if we scrap his whole episode. So there's that. I was like, but yo, secretly this shit is funny.
People love train wrecks.
And they do. And so I say that to say that to this day, he is still our highest watched episode. Yes. Well, exceeding by big numbers.
Yes.
And so, and I think that everybody does enjoy going back and watching that little train wreck but also he's funny. And people also agreed with a lot of his points, mostly men.
That was interesting because we've had future guests come on the show that had
referenced that episode.
They referenced that episode. They had similar viewpoints.
Yep.
And we kind of realized that what he was saying wasn't per se so out there. He just
his delivery. It's his delivery.
But yeah, so that was one of my favorite. Well, not my favorite. It was
memorable.
It was one of my memorable
there you
moments.
Go.
Me being a control freak and having that happen and me like not knowing what I think we handled it really well though.
We did the best that we could with the situation that we had.
So Nick B, if you could bring any topic to a future show, what would it be?
One that we haven't already had?
Yes.
Of a topic to a future show. And I don't want to use any topics because that are coming. Or is it okay to use any topics? No, because we already went through the topics that we've done. A topic to a show that we haven't already done. I don't know.
You know what I want?
What do you want?
Old people and sex.
Ew.
I know it sounds gross.
All I'm thinking of is old balls.
Oh my god.
Just
Jiggly
like
balls.
loose skin balls.
I can't.
Nobody wants that.
My thought process is, though, because at some point we're all going to get old. We want to know how to keep it spicy as we get older, as we get on through life. And especially if people who are in relationships, like, how do you keep it spicy until you get up there? Like, I'm curious. I want the wisdom. I think old people, the highest
I'm not saying that
STD
they
rates
don't.
are in old people homes.
I agree. Listen, I'm not saying that they ain't getting it in. I'm just having a really hard time with like the loose skin and the low, like
saggy titties.
the saggy, just like hanging on the side of the bed while she's down there.
You
Just
gotta
like,
just walk around like,
right.
hey, you got this.
And everybody's knees are bad. Like my knees are already bad, right? Right. It'd be like, oh no, baby, we can't do that tonight. I ain't take my Advil in advance.
Fall out on the nipples.
Oh shit! Like, oh, put them teeth back in my mouth along with your titty.
Sloppy gummies.
Oh, that might feel good though.
If you take the teeth
Take the teeth out before she gives them head, then she doesn't have to worry about teeth. So
I bet you old people head is probably the best head that a man will ever get. That sounds so gross, doesn't it? I just know that old people are less. They don't have any filters, so they're gonna tell you like it is.
They be tooting in the bed.
Oh God!
And then trying to get it in.
Tooting the bed.
I know, but not while you trying to like have hanky panky. Oh, Robert, I told you I wasn't gonna do this with you tonight.
What is their problem?
I just imagine that Bertha gave Robert some like really milky soup, and nobody has time for the gas tonight. And I just don't.
Who serves milky soup?
Like a cream base.
Oh God, your mind just goes everywhere.
Like a cheddar cheese based soup. Something soft for the gummies. And then wants to get some lovin'. That's the kind of. Can we not bring this episode on our show? Because
we're absolutely bringing
God,
this on.
who are we gonna even invite?
I don't know, but now I've got to find someone just because it's gonna make you.
Oh man,
I'm bringing somebody.
Oh man.
If you're old and you have sex, please hit us up.
Oh
in the
man.
DMs. Just don't send us no dick pics.
Don't we?
we
don't want the crepe paper photos.
Oh God. Okay, Nick B. There's one thing that you could tell me about you that I don't already know. What is it?
That you don't already know?
That I don't already know. Is there a dating story that I haven't heard yet?
I feel like you've literally heard them all.
No. With new ones every now and then. Okay.
I got one, but I think you forgot that I've told it to you, but I haven't shared it with everybody else.
Okay.
Rossi on the rocks.
Go.
You do remember this one. So I met this guy. Okay. I believe I met him online here in Portland. And I met him he was on Facebook, but it wasn't like on Facebook dating app because this was way before there was ever the Facebook dating app. And so met him on Facebook, and his profile picture was of him a little bit in the distance. So I couldn't get a very good close-up picture of his face, but I could see his silhouette. And from what I saw, he had a nice figure. He seemed tall. I guess I didn't have a really good perspective of height because he was in the background. And so I decided to go on this date, and we've exchanged phone numbers. And he's like, yeah, girl, so I was thinking maybe you could come over to my place. We could watch movies. Now, I'm younger, and I haven't set that boundary of I don't want to go to someone's house on a first date. So I was just like, okay. And he was like, well, do you want anything to drink or anything like that? Like, what do you drink? And I was like, I drink wine. And he was like, oh, I do too. And he's like, how about you pick some up? And I was like, okay, I guess I'll buy the wine since I'm coming to your home and you're providing the heat, and the movie, and the Netflix, and then I was like, I guess that's what you're bringing to the plate. I can bring some wine, and I was like, cool. Well, since you drink wine, what kind of wine do you like? He's like, oh yeah, I'm a simple man. I just like that Rossi. And I said, as in Carlos, like Carlos Rossi. I said like the wine by the gallon. He was like, yeah, girl, get the red one. And I said, okay, well, I'll get you that, and I'm going to get something else that won't kill me. So I got myself my own bottle of wine, and then I got him some Rossi on the, some Rossi. So I pull up to his house only to find out that it's his grandmama's house.
Oh, shit.
And his room is in the basement.
Wait, was his grandma there?
Yes, because I met Grams. I came in through the kitchen. She was standing there in her house robe, and I was like, hi. I was like, my name is Nicole with an H. And so she's nice to meet you, baby. so-and-so's on downstairs. I don't even know his name. I don't remember his name now. So-and-so's on downstairs. And I'm like, okay. So I go down there with my gallon of Rossi and my real wine. And we get to the basement. And he's like, oh, yeah, you got that good stuff, man. Thank you. I'm like, you're welcome. And he's like, well, let me get you some cups. He's like, will the Mickey cup mug do for you? And I was like, you gonna serve me the wine? You gonna serve me the wine that I bought in the Mickey Mouse mug? I said, you know what? Fuck it. This is what we doing tonight, I guess. Let me get that Mickey mug. And so then he's like, you want any ice? And I was like, let me find out you drinking Rossi on the rocks. So we have Rossi on the rocks. We got my wine in a mug, and we start watching this movie, and he gets close to me, and he puts his arm around me, and then all of a sudden, he digs in my nose. What? And it gets better. I go, oh my God. I was like, oh shit. I was like, do I have a booger in my nose? And he was like, nah, girl, I just like your nose. And I said, so you just gonna put your hands in my nose? And so then he wanted some sex, and I was like, no, thank you. And I left.
Oh, did you leave the wine?
I took my wine and I left his gallon. So that was the story of Rossi on the rocks. I never called him again. And then as it turns out, he is someone's cousin that we know very well.
Oh, shit.
He was in their wedding. And I didn't say anything to him, but I recognized him. And I think he forgot who I was.
Oh, we have to talk about this off camera.
Oh,
God.
You were in that wedding, too.
I was in the whole wedding. I was in the wedding. Okay, I've only been in one wedding, so shout out to my friend whose wedding this was. Yeah. Oh.
Uh-huh. It's her cousin.
Damn.
He dug in my nose.
Why is Portland so small?
This is why it's hard to date in Portland.
Because the guy that digs your nose is going to be in your other friend's wedding. Like, that's just a lot to process.
And I hadn't seen him in life since the wedding from prior to Rossi on the Rocks night.
Oh, God, that's great. And you were there. You made the cake for the wedding.
I made the cake for that wedding.
You did. Oh, that's an amazing,
hilarious. Yeah, so there's a story for you. Do
great.
I know any stories? Are there any stories about you I don't know?
I have a funny story about New Year's, since we just recently passed with New Year's. So this is my ex-husband.
Okay.
We decided that we were going to go to Atlanta for New Year's. Okay. It was supposed to be a little romantic trip. We get so fucking wasted. First of all, we got lost because there's 85 Peachtree streets in Atlanta, and the hotel that we were staying at was on Peachtree.
On a Peachtree.
On one of them. So we turned down Peachtree, turned left on Peachtree, turned right on Peachtree. So could not find the right Peachtree. We started driving down this dark road. We're now in the area of SWAT, Southwest Atlanta, like kind of area. We've gone too far. We have a friend that I call as a DJ, and he lives in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta, and he was like, hey, if it starts getting dark, turn around. And we're like, it's dark. There's no lights. Dark. We don't know where we're going. He's like, turn around now. Lock your doors and turn around. We were like, okay. We found a hotel eventually. We get there. We're drinking. Lights. We got some, alcohol. We're getting lit. My ex at the time, he's a drinker. He drunk. So we had this big giant window that's in our hotel room because we thought it was romantic. We were like, we want to get a nice one, right? We look out the window and it's looking over the courtyard of the hotel. So there's a big giant New Year's party going on, big event tent, people outside. But our window is fucking huge. When I say huge, it's huge, right? So I'm like looking out longingly, like, I wish I was at that party. He's like, girl, we good here, girl, drink it, right? So we do our shenanigans for the evening, right? Fall asleep. The party's still going on because it hasn't even been we're so drunk it hasn't even been
it's not even the next day yet.
Not yet. So the party's still going on. He wakes up out of his sleep, butt ass naked, right? He has to go to the bathroom, but he's drunk and doesn't know where he's going. He opens up the curtains of the window and is in the fucking window, facing the courtyard with everybody down there for New Year's. Did he pee
on the window?
No, that's the window. He's pissing from the window to the wall. Just sweat drop down his balls.
Not just pissing all over the windows.
Yeah, overlooking the New Year's party. Over the New Year's party.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he had no clue that he did that until like years later.
That's hilarious.
I thought he knew and he didn't know. So that was our interesting New Year's story.
That is awesome. Did anybody see him?
I don't think I looked at anybody when we left the hotel. It was kind of like one of those moments.
Can you imagine being the maid that has to come in and clean the piss off the windows? It's all dribbled down to the floor. It's embedded in the carpet in the corner now.
It's one of those moments where you don't even turn your key and you just check out and you just leave.
God.
You just leave and let them bill you later. Like,
Oh
whatever
God!
happened.
Did they charge you like I would
didn't.
have? I would have charged you guys an extra smoking fee or another $250 for cleaning or something.
I feel like New Year's comes with the caveat of some bullshit.
I can't do New Year's parties. They are the most stressful. It's so expensive. It was in your room. You guys had a whole party in your room.
We did. Oh God. Oh, good times.
Those were good times.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to
Cheers.
us. Oh,
Yeah, we're going to cheers.
hold on. Clinkety clink
Clink,
clink.
clink. There we go. Y'all, we are so excited. Season 4, Dirty Roses Podcast. Y'all make sure you check us out every Tuesday
Yes.
for the next 10 weeks.
Okay. Let's
See you
go.
then.